Hello, welcome to Fertile Soil here in Teresa's garden, where we will experience a little bit of my garden together. Here I'm plopped down in the middle of my herb garden, which is one of my favorite places in the whole world to be. One of the reasons is because I really truly feel like all the plants that are all around us are part of us. They've been around since the beginning of time, and they're part of us. They help us heal. We eat them. They're good for our spirituality. They're great for our health, emotionally, physically. Can even make things with them, beautiful things, clothing, all kinds of stuff. They're just part of us, and I want to be with them. And I kind of think they want to be with me too. But anyway, here we are, Fertile Soil. We are going to talk today about dill and its relatives. Sounds a little funny, but dill is a hollowed stemmed plant. So that is in of itself makes it related to other hollow stemmed plants like fennel. And they are umbellifers, the ones that have hollow stems. But here in my garden, I'm going to show you a little bit about dill here. And I have a fennel as well back here, bronze fennel. But my dill, I started by seed right here. And as you can see, I have this little cage around it because dill does grow better if it's held up by something, because it can get a little floppy in the wind. And then here is my bronze fennel. Now, I'm just a little over 5 foot. And I'm pretty sure that this bronze fennel is at least 4 foot tall at the highest. It is just beautiful in my garden. And a lot of people grow it just to be ornamental. I grow it for several reasons. I love the way it looks. It draws butterflies to the garden. And it tastes pretty good. Also, so excuse me while I sit down my camera a little gently here so nothing falls over. So we're gonna start with dill, because dill is the main event. Dill is mentioned in the Bible in Matthew 23:23. Now, we read that the very first time that I did a fertile soil, and that was when we did mint. And in Matthew 23:23, we hear about the dill being used as a tithe. In other words, money, as payment. So I'm going to read it again, even though I read it weeks ago. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you tithe mint, dill, and cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the law, justice and mercy and faith. In these you ought to have practiced without neglecting the others. So the Pharisees, who literally strained water through a cloth to filter out unclean gnats and bugs, could hardly miss the point of Jesus's little bit of humor there. He wasn't attacking them for being strict per se, but rather for fixating on trivial matters while ignoring the more important issues like justice, mercy, and faithfulness. So he kind of blasted their smugness. So mint was so prolific that when they tithed with it, it really didn't have a big value to it. And kind of the same with dill. Dill grows very in the wild in that area in Israel. So it was very easy to come by. So you know, they kind of used it because it was so prolific. They didn't use something that was more valuable. So that is that coming out of the Bible, the little lesson from the garden today. And since the beginning of time, we've been here. We've been working with all these herbs, and it's really fun to share them with you. And I always want to repeat, I am not in this because I'm a professional. I'm in this because I'm always learning, always wanting to share with everyone the simple things that you yourself can do. Maybe even if you don't have a garden and you don't grow herbs, you can buy them at the store and you can cook with them, and you can go to the drugstore and buy them. They're readily available, and you probably have some friends who grow them in their garden, so they share with you. So no matter what, herbs touch our lives. They've been in medicine before we had medicine. Probably 150 years ago, maybe even less than that, is when we started doing the synthetic or produced medicine. I don't know how they do it, but they extract certain things from our herbs and use them and heal us with. And well, the herbs were here way before that. So there's that. So, dill. Dill is quite a delicious plant. Now this bunch of dill, I will readily admit, I did not pick from my garden because I showed you my dill. It's too small. I started it from seed, so it's not quite to this maturity yet. This is a lot of dill. However, this much dill only cost about $2 at the grocery store. You can find dill almost in any grocery store. And right now, and we're coming up into the summer months, they're going to be selling a lot of this for pickles and all kinds of delicious food. It smells wonderful. If you've never used dill, I have a few things to explain to you. Dill loses its flavor when you dry it. Now you can buy dill leaf, you know, in the little jars, and you can still use it, and it's still really good. But dill is so much better when you use it fresh. Growing dill in your garden, it grows pretty quickly, and it goes to bolt, or in other words, seed, pretty darn fast, especially in the summer when as soon as it gets hot and sultry out. It really likes that. Now, when dill blooms, and it's usually midsummer, I have one here that is starting to bloom right in the pot. I've been keeping this in the pot for you guys for several weeks, and it is starting to bloom sooner than the ones I planted by seed. The flowers are yellowish, and you can use the leaves, stems, root, and seed when you do things, but mostly it's the leaf and the seed. Now, I have made pickles using dill before, and I put this whole head in the jar. When you're growing it, and if you really want those seeds, you can pick the leaves all up and down the stem and use them and let the seed head mature. It'll get seeds on it. After the yellow flowers dissipate, it turns to seed. Then the flower head will start to turn brown at the end of summer. When it starts to turn brown, when it looks like, and the seeds are called the fruit, when it looks like those little fruits or seeds are pretty brown and mature and fat, you can cut this off. And this is one of the herbs that is good to get a little lunch bag and put these seed heads, either just throw them in the lunch bag or cut them on the stem and hang them. I just throw them in the lunch bag. Let them dry. Then when the seeds fall off, you catch them right in that paper bag. Don't close the bag up. You let it lay open because you want it to dry, but put them in there and they will be good to use. Like I said, dill leaves are better when they're used fresh, but you can use them dry as well. It's okay. I just like to taste them, the taste of them better when they are fresh. There are several different varieties of dill that you can purchase, and I think the reason that they have a couple hybrids and different varieties is to slow down that bolting process when it goes to seed. They want to slow that down a little bit because the leaves are really tasty and delicious, and you want to have them for a long time. This one is called a fern leaf dill. Just a little bit of a different, they're not quite as straight leaves, and aren't the leaves so pretty and delicate? They're very nice. So that's a fern leaf dill. And the botanical name for dill, okay, is Anethum graveolens. I hope I said that correctly. And it is in the Apiaceae family, which is in the celery family, as well as parsley is in that same family also. And the first word, anethum, is meaning dill or anise. So anise or anise, however you prefer to say it. I'm from York County, so I say anise. I just grew up saying it that way. That is not really the herb that is in the Bible for dill. It is actually dill that was mentioned in Matthew 23:23. It has hollow stems. They are annuals. You have to plant them by seed every year. You can either buy the plant at your favorite greenhouse, or you can start them from seed. Dill is pretty easy to start from seed. They love the sun and they love the warm. Using dill in food and cooking is really good. It's used, I have pickles. Can you see the pieces of dill? And there's garlic and all kinds of good stuff in there. Dill pickles are delicious, and a lot of times you will see that whole piece, or if you do pickles yourself, you can put that whole stem of dill in there. Dill dip is super delicious. It's one of my family's favorite dips, especially over the summertime when you can get some fresh, good old fresh dill. It's great with vegetables, and I did post that video earlier with that very, very easy to make. It's just mayonnaise, sour cream, a bunch of dill, some fresh parsley, garlic powder, and onion powder. I don't think I forgot anything. That's pretty much it. And it's very good, very easy to make, and very fresh tasting. So also, dill is used in cooking fish, potato salad, soups. Of course, I already mentioned dips. It's used all over the world in cooking. It's used in borscht. We have Germany and Bulgaria, and in the Russian area, and Romania and Poland, Great Britain, Siberia. There's so many countries, Iran, China, that use it in cooking. Now, dill seed is another part of dill. We were talking about the seeds. Dill seeds right here. Dill seeds actually cure hiccups. If you are having a terrible bout of hiccups, all you need to do is chew on a couple dill seeds. Chew them up, swallow them, and in a few moments it will cure your hiccups. It's great for upset stomach, it's great for flatulence. Dill is mostly good for your guts and your stomach area, and it's delicious. And chewing those seeds do a lot of things. So let's see here, what else do I have to say about dill? It's just so good to eat, to cook with. It's very fresh, easy to grow. Summertime and dill go hand in hand. Now I'm going to talk about one of the other relatives, and I talked about, or I showed you the fennel up there. Now I will readily admit I have never cooked a fennel bulb. And my friend Angie, if you're watching, Angie, or if you do watch this, hi, we have to make fennel bulb together. You can, it just looks so delicious in it, and I know it has like a crunch, like celery, that fennel bulb that you can get. And you can cook with that, as well as the leaves of fennel. And fennel also has seeds. Fennel and dill grow very, very similar. But with fennel, you have two kinds of fennel. You have the Florence fennel, which is the kind that grows into a bulb. And fennel is in the carrot family, actually. And then the bronze fennel that I showed you back there, and I have a leaf of the bronze fennel that I cut right here, my big tall fennel. This one doesn't have too much of a bronze color, but when it's coming out, it has that bronze color. This one is a perennial. You have to, you don't have to plant it every year. Think about perennials. Perennial comes up every year. When it goes to seed, and it will go to seed, and if you just don't bother with the seed heads and let those seeds fall, you will have teeny tiny baby fennels all over your garden. Luckily, they're easy to pull out. Look, I just pulled this out. It was right beside me. I saw it here earlier this week. I thought, oh, I'm keeping that one. So easy to pull out, but they're also easy to propagate. Just let those seed heads on the fennel and you'll have lots more fennel, very ornamental. I cut this and put it in flower arrangements all the time. It lasts a long time, and it's a great green filler. It looks great with flowers, cut flowers from your garden. And here is some Florence fennel that sadly has been in this pot way too long because it should have been taken apart. When you are, let's see if I can pull it apart. When you are planting, no, I can't pull it apart. Thought maybe I could. Ah, there we go. When you are putting the Florence fennel, see, this is really, really green. Pull it apart, now I can smell it. You should plant these individually far apart from each other, probably about 8 inches apart, because right here is where your bulb will mature. It actually also grows very fast. So as soon as the heat of the summer comes, man, this stuff is going to take off. It's a little late. I bought this just to show you guys. I don't know if I can find room in my garden to put it, but I'm going to try. Might be a little late. It's good to plant this fennel in the spring. And you can also plant it the end of summer for in the fall. So I'll let you know if I get a fennel bulb from the fennel. Vinculum vulgare is the, easier to pronounce, is the botanical name for fennel. It's in the carrot family, like I told you. The bulb has a crunch to it like celery, and you can make a really simple salad with it. You can buy a fennel bulb, slice it. Now, it's really kind of hard to find a good fennel. I would imagine at a market, at one of the local markets, you would be able to find it at the country markets. And not sure where else, but I'm sure you can find it. Slice it and put it with Granny Smith apples, olive oil, lemon juice, salt and pepper, and some fresh Parmesan. And that's the salad that I want to make with my friends. So I hope Angie will do that with me, because I really want to taste a fennel bulb. It's all part of this experience that I hope you will try it too. Fennel and dill are absolutely perfect if you want to have a butterfly garden, because swallowtail and anise swallowtail butterflies love, well, not the butterflies, the caterpillars love dill and fennel. I'm very surprised that I don't have any on that large fennel. I get them every year. It might be a little early. So I get those caterpillars on, and then the butterflies, they mature into butterflies, and it's great in the garden. So if you like to draw butterflies, dill and fennel, make sure you plant a lot so you don't mind them eating some of it, because they do chomp away on it. The seeds, this is one thing I wanted to tell you. The seeds of dill, not fennel, the seeds of dill were carried in colonial times in little pouches when they had their big meetings. They were carried in their pouches, and they were called meeting seeds, because when you chew on the fennel seed, it helps curb your appetite. That's one thing I forgot to tell you about the dill when we were talking about it. And I thought that was kind of a cool little thing to hear about it, because it curbs your appetite. So those meetings must have been really long if they were carrying meeting seeds with them, so that their stomachs weren't growling when they got hungry. So let's see, now we are going to talk about parsley in the garden. Parsley, it's so funny, the folklore of parsley is such an evil herb. But I will tell you about the folklore in a little bit. I grow both kinds of parsley in my garden. I grow the curly leaf parsley, which is actually probably the most popular kind of parsley that we all use in cooking. And then we have the Italian flat leaf parsley. There's many kinds of parsley, but these are the two probably most popular kinds. There's cutting celery parsley that is almost like celery, and that's really good too. I have used that. It's really good. Flat leaf parsley, I think they taste very similar. Curly parsley. When parsley grows, this is one of those herbs that do not like being in the direct sun. It kind of burns them out. They like morning sun. The bright morning sun will be good for them. However, in the middle of 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the beating hot sun, parsley does not like that. They actually prefer partial shade. They grow much better that way. Now when parsley grows, it grows from the center of the plant. So when you're harvesting your parsley, it's best to harvest from the outside edges of your parsley. Now, the disadvantage to that, I think, but I do it, but the disadvantage is those parsleys that are lower to the ground are the dirtiest ones. So you really have to rinse them off, because when you get a beating hard rain, those lower leaves get really dirty in your parsley. A fun fact with parsley is, if you have bad breath, you just ate a piece of garlic and you want to talk to somebody, chew on a piece of parsley, and that helps your breath, like almost immediately. So that's fun, walking in your garden, chew on some parsley. Peter Rabbit chewed on the parsley, and Mr. McGregor's garden. He ate a lot of it. He liked it, and he chewed it. There's a little story behind that. I think he chewed it to help, I forget. I started the story, now I can't remember it. But one of the tales about parsley is that it, for one thing, growing it by seed, it can take sometimes 8 weeks to even sprout. So there's some folklore about it that it went to the devil and back before it sprouted. Therefore, it gets that folklore around it that it's not a good thing to have. Has not good vibes about it. And there's another folklore that says if parsley grows well in your garden, you must be a witch. So if you can't grow parsley very well in your garden, you have a hard time, that must mean you're pretty good. My parsley grows middle, and believe me, I'm not a witch. So, parsley, I also want to tell you here, is really, of course, great for cooking. Parsley in soups, stews. Another thing is they put parsley on their plate. You know how you get garnish of parsley plopped on your plate to make you think it's there to look good? Well, in my little folklore book, I found out why that tradition started. And it started to guard your food from contamination. What kind of contamination? You pick. I don't know what kind of contamination. But that's why we get parsley on our plates. Whether the cooks actually know that tradition, where it came from, I don't know. But I read it in several different books. So it's placed on your food to help your food from being contaminated. Parsley is best used fresh. Also, like the dill, parsley is so easy to dry. Just snip it. You don't have to use the stems. You can snip the, if you use the stems, it's okay. You can use them in soups. But it's best just to cut the curly blue leaves off the top, lay them out on a paper towel. If you have a dehydrator, you know, just put it in the dehydrator and it will be dehydrated in a few hours. Follow the directions in your dehydrator for herbs, but it's very, if you put it in a dehydrator, it stays very nice and green. I use lots of parsley in cooking, as well as you probably do too. So either, dry or fresh. Parsley is a biannual. It stays alive for 2 years in your garden. The second year is when it goes to seed and it bolts. First year is always the best year for your parsley, but I have harvested it in the second year. It does bolt and go to seed very quickly on the second year. Some of the folklore here around our 3 herbs that I'm talking about today. The dill and dill and fennel are so similar in everything that you read. Even the medical uses for them, they're both used for upset stomachs and flatulence. A lot of things are very similar between the two. Same with the folklore properties of it. Both of them, the dill and the fennel, are used for protection and money and lust and love. And the herb is used as protection when you hang it on your door or you carry it in sachets. So what I'm going to do with this big bunch of dill, because I already made a couple things with it and I'm not ready to make any pickles at this point in time, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a nice ribbon around. around here, excuse me, and hang it by my front door for protection, just because. It was also placed in a child or baby's cradle to help protect them. And dill, owing to the number of seeds that comes out of it, is also used in money, little money spells. So maybe if you find a seed head with like 1,000,000 seeds on it, maybe you'll get $1 million. Added to the bath, it makes the bather simply irresistible. I guess that's where the lust comes in. And it stimulates, it stimulates, if eaten, your love. Fennel is pretty much very, very similar when I'm reading this here. It's used for protection. Piece of fennel in your left shoe, not your right shoe. Put a piece of fennel in your left shoe, and that will help protect you being bitten by ticks. And you can hang it your windows and doors to ward off evil spirits and evil people, and it's used in purification sachets. So you could kind of hear the similarity between the two of them. Now, parsley is also listed under lust, purification, and protection. When eaten, parsley helps with fertility. So if you're trying to have a baby, eat a bunch of parsley. But if you're in love, don't cut your parsley plant, because you'll cut your love as well. That's what it says here in my folklore book. The plant has association with evil. For some reason, like I told you, it takes so long to go on to the devil and back. It must have been where that comes from. But even though it has that regard to evil, the Romans used to tuck a sprig of parsley in their armor for protection. So it wasn't that bad. And used in baths. So there we have information about dill and fennel and parsley. Fennel seeds, I did not show you, are very, very similar to the dill seeds. But you see the fennel seeds in like Italian sausage. It does, you chew on it, it just tastes like licorice. Oh, hiccups, I told you about the hiccups. I think that's pretty cool. I could chew on these fennel seeds a lot because they're really, really good. I would say that I covered all my mind can remember at the moment. There's so much about more. I say that every time. There's so much more about these plants, but it's up to you to do your own research. If you find one and you really like it, look it up, because Lord knows we all can have access to Google or the internet, and you can find information just as well as I can. But I'm here to stimulate your appetite, and I hope I do. So I wanted to show you also my hyssop bloom today. Isn't it pretty? We talked about the hyssop, and here we are. The bees are going to be buzzing. I got a new little bee house from my friend, so the bees hopefully will be coming to my garden a little bit more than they are. I see them. They're not disappeared here. So I have to end a little gardener's prayer. Grant me, O Lord, a plot of fertile ground. Rain is needed in gentle showers, days of waning, nurturing sunshine, everlasting patience as the seedlings sprout and grow, natural generosity with the bounty of my labor, endless gratitude for your divine blessings, and reverence for the miracle of life that you show me each day in my garden. Amen. Well, we had fertile soil on a Thursday because tomorrow I'm helping my brother move. I'm so excited. They're in Pennsylvania now, so we're doing that tomorrow. And there's a lot of people who are hurting right now, so we cannot forget to, however you want to pray, however you want to send your good thoughts, let's think of everyone here in our lives and people you don't even know that need your love and support right now. Just feel that, send out those good vibes amongst the world. So next week, I don't know what I'm going to do next week. If you have any ideas, any wants, send me a message. Maybe I'll do it. If not, I'll come up with something good. And remember, the Bible started in the garden. Time started in the garden. Take care, guys. See ya. Bye.